AI has played a major role at the 77th anniversary of the Cannes International Film Festival. Google released a brand new AI video tool that is legitimately a Sora competitor, and OpenAI came out with some new tech that is one of the greatest technological breakthroughs in human history. So, yeah, it's been a big week. This is your AI film news of the week. Bonjour, hello. We are in the south of France for the 77th anniversary of the Cannes International Film Festival. But I actually want to kick things over to the brand new announcement from Google first. They released a brand new AI video generation tool called Veo. And they actually did it in collaboration with Donald Glover. So there's an interesting video over on their website where they basically talk about the creative process, and Donald Glover talks about the creative possibilities of using Veo on his projects. So there's a lot of reasons to like Google's new AI video generator. The first is the fact that it actually creates the video in 1080p. So a lot of other AI video generators out there actually produce results that are much smaller than HD, and they use an AI upreser to basically turn it into HD or beyond. But using the Google tool, the resolution is actually natively in HD, and it makes the results look pretty darn good. You also have the ability to upload an image and then generate a video from that image. So that has huge implications for storytelling because it allows you to be much more consistent than if you were just typing in a prompt alone. You also have the ability to extend video clips up to 60 seconds long. So you can get really long tracking shots and really long extensions to your AI video generations. The tool looks amazing, but don't take my word for it. You can check out some of the videos that have been generated using the tool by clicking the link below this video. They have this landing page with a few really incredible examples. For example, we have this shot of this cowboy riding on a horse. And of course, there are some issues with it, especially the legs seem like they get a little long there towards the end and the orientation seems a little off. But at a quick glance, you would really never know that this was AI generated. We also have this shot of a car riding down a residential suburban street. It looks very good. We have this other shot that's an extreme close-up of some chicken on a grill, and it looks realistic. I think this shot, more than any of the other shots, I never would know that this was created using artificial intelligence. There's a few other examples. For example, the shot of the Northern Lights, and we have this drone shot of a lighthouse, which is basically a bit of a comparison with the other drone footage that we saw from Sora just a few months ago. Google is also really encouraging people to use filmmaking terms whenever they use Veo. So basically you have the ability to type in filmmaking concepts like tracking shots, handheld footage, sepia tone, and all sorts of other creative directions in which you would want to push your footage. You're able to communicate that using their tool. Now, they have a really cool example on YouTube that you can check out that is basically a 60-second demo of a single prompt. Basically, it starts out in a kind of Tokyo neon noir skyline, and it changes into like a racing scene with a car racing through the city, and it goes through a tunnel, and the entirety of the video was created with a single prompt. It's very interesting. What I also find very interesting is the fact that a lot of these advanced AI video generation tools actually use those long tracking shots as examples for how good the tool actually is. So for example, right here, we have Google's new AI video generator on the left, and then we have one of the music videos created using Sora, created by Paul Trillo on the right. And you can see that when we compare and contrast the two models, I'd say that these Sora generations look much more cinematic and real compared to some of the generations that we're seeing from Google. So would I say that Google's video generator will be as good as Sora? Absolutely not. But the fact is, most people don't have access to either one of these tools at the moment. So the tool that gives access to the masses first, I think, is going to have a huge step forward when it comes to people adopting these advanced tools. And speaking of access, we actually have a direct link to the waitlist form to where you can sign up for access to Google's video generator. You'll find a link below this video. They're slowly rolling out access, but hopefully you'll get access very soon. I really thought it was cool because at the end of the interview with Donald Glover, he basically said that using generative AI, everybody is going to become a director, and he thinks that everybody should become a director. And we totally agree. Next up is an incredible announcement from OpenAI. Obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, you heard about OpenAI's Chat-GPT 4.0 model that just released a few days ago. The model is really incredible for multiple reasons. The first reason is the fact that it can accept any type of input. So whether it's text, audio, video, you can upload it to the model. It also is the best model out there. So there's an interesting chart where they compare this model of Chat-GPT to previous versions of Chat and then some of the other language models that are out there. And this one is basically the best. It's also cheaper, making it more efficient to run in different languages. In some languages, it runs up to 4 times faster than the previous Chat-GPT 4 model. The speed is really incredible. Let me show you how to use it. Basically, you just go to the Chat-GPT website. It's now chatgpt.com. And make sure you click in the top left and go to GPT 4.0, and you'll have access to this model. Now, I said create 10 ideas for a low-budget film that evaluates the juxtaposition between the artist and the financiers of their work. And let's go ahead and see how long it takes. Ready, set, go. And you can see that the result is generated basically as soon as we click the enter button. And you can see that it's creating some just different ideas for films. And the ideas are actually pretty darn good. And one of the coolest parts about using this new model is the fact that it's going to be free. So you have access to use this tool whether you pay for ChatGPT or not. It's just that people who pay for ChatGPT will actually get 5 times more generations than the free tier alone. Now, if that was the only announcement, it would be absolutely amazing, but it gets even better. So one of the biggest announcements from this update from OpenAI is the fact that they are introducing vision to ChatGPT. So basically, the idea is that ChatGPT will be able to see the world around you and answer questions, whether it's on your computer, your phone, or through the camera from a mobile device. It basically has a voice assistant that you can talk to, and the latency is only 232 milliseconds. So basically, you're able to have a natural language conversation back and forth, and ChatGPT isn't taking the words that you speak and turning it into text. It actually is listening to the words that you're speaking and able to interpret that without having to go through the extra step of turning it into text and then dictating it and then translating it. There's some really great examples over on the OpenAI website of ChatGPT 4.0 in action. For example, there's a video where a guy basically is using the assistant to take a look at his clothing and give him feedback.
In a few minutes, I'm going to be interviewing at OpenAI. I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Well, Rocky, you definitely have the I've been coding all night look down, which could actually work in your favor. Maybe just run a hand through your hair.
One of the really interesting parts of using this model is the fact that it actually has the ability to laugh and to sigh and do all sorts of really interesting things that sound really human.
Hey, Chad, are you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Hey, let's have some fun. I'd like you to be super sarcastic. Everything you say from now on is just gonna be dripping in sarcasm. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds just amazing. Being sarcastic all the time isn't exhausting or anything. I'm so excited for this. Nope, the sarcasm. Let's get this party started, or whatever.
And there's all sorts of other examples on their website, from speaking like a sportscaster to creating sarcasm with the sarcastic tonality in their voice. There's also another video that shows that ChatGPT can be used in meetings to not only give feedback, but also to organize the meeting itself. And one of the coolest videos that I came across basically is a man who is unable to see. He's able to use ChatGPT Vision to tell him information about the world. And there's even one scene inside of this video where he's able to hail a cab because ChatGPT sees the car coming. So obviously, I think this has huge implications for the future of filmmaking. Having the ability to use your phone and to scan around an environment and ask questions is really quite incredible. Whether you have a question about how a certain piece of technology works on a film set, all the way to trying to figure out information about a location that you may be scouting, having the ability for ChatGPT to look around the environment. And remember, it's connected to live information now, so it knows information that is coming to the internet day after day. But that's not even the most impressive part of this entire announcement. One of the features that I think kind of went under the radar, but is absolutely huge, is the fact that OpenAI is releasing a desktop app. And this app has the ability to look at your screen and be basically a voice assistant that allows you to ask questions about whatever is on your screen. Now, that's huge because think about the number of problems and questions that you have in day-to-day life when you are working on a computer. Whether it's how to word an email or how to understand a budgeting spreadsheet, or even just general information about the world with fact-checking and all sorts of other references that you may have normally just gone to Google to get, now you will be able to do that with ChatGPT directly. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this is going to have profound implications for how we do our work, and it's going to change basically every aspect of the filmmaking pipeline. Let me explain. So, for example, you may be working on a script and you want to ask questions. Well, if it's on your screen, you can ask ChatGPT about the script that you're working on or do research just by looking at your script. You'll also have the ability to create a budget and ask questions about rates and policies, all while you're working. You also can get feedback on emails that you're writing, whether you're negotiating or trying to find talent for potential projects that you may be working on. And you'll literally have the ability to ask the AI if the information that you're consuming is true or not. It basically can spot logical fallacies and will give you information regarding what is true and not true with the content you are reading. And one of the more interesting applications will be inside of creative tools. So if you've ever tried to learn a complex software like a video editing tool, or maybe it's Adobe Photoshop, or even more complex software like Nuke or Houdini, you know that you can tend to have questions at every aspect of the creative process. But what if you could just simply ask ChatGPT, hey, how do I change the aspect ratio of that sequence? Or how do I add this specific audio effect? Well, instead of having to go to the internet or watch a tutorial, you'll be able to use ChatGPT to get that information natively. OpenAI also said they'll be releasing a Google Drive integration for their enterprise customers very soon. So basically you can upload a spreadsheet, you can change the data and ask questions back and forth using ChatGPT. OpenAI also came out with a few guidelines for how they want to create a code of ethics for future language models going forward, and they're asking for public feedback. Some of the guidelines include making sure AI models follow a chain of command, they comply with applicable laws, they respect creators' rights, they ask clarifying questions, they discourage hate, and they express uncertainty. You can read the full report below this video and give feedback to OpenAI on how they can make more ethical models. And the last bit of OpenAI news comes from one of their co-founders, John Schulman, who basically in a video said that we will more than likely achieve AGI within 2 to 3 years. So that's already much faster than some of the timelines that have been predicted up to this point. You know, it will be really interesting to see if by the time 2026 or 2027 is here, that we truly have an AGI intelligence that is capable of processing information and reasoning on its own. In other news, the team at Leonardo came out with AI character reference that allows you to have consistent characters using reference imagery. There's some really interesting examples online. For example, we have a post here where basically someone decided to create tech billionaires as some of the Avengers, And I think that it's really interesting to see that just a few months ago, getting consistent characters was really, really challenging. Now it seems like just about every other AI tool out there now has a solution for creating consistent characters. And speaking of Leonardo, I should note that they actually hopped on our office hours for the Curious Refuge program this last week, where they showcased how to use this brand new feature. So a big thanks to Jesse and the Leonardo team. And I think that transitions me perfectly to talking about our AI Filmmaking Meetup at Cannes 2024. We were able to host the very first AI Filmmaking Meetup at Cannes in partnership with Leonardo. The meetup was incredible. We had over 200 people in attendance and we hosted an esports competition. It was incredibly fun. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Shelby and I were fortunate enough to speak at multiple events about AI and the future of filmmaking. We also had the ability to speak at the Microsoft Majestic Beach, which was a beautiful venue, to basically talk about the role of ethics and empowerment as we move into this new AI adoption era. We were able to speak alongside fantastic filmmakers, including Dave Clark and Amina Foley, along with some legends in the world of filmmaking. We were also super fortunate to check out the premiere of Emilia Perez, and we got to walk down the red carpet, and I've never seen so many cameras in my life. It was a wild experience. But AI has been all over Cannes. For example, there's a brand new movie that is using AI to basically face swap with Putin to put him in a brand new film. There's also really interesting examples of trailers and films that have been dubbed into other languages using artificial intelligence. We'd like to thank the organizers of Cannes for inviting us to the event. We had so many great conversations with people who are looking to help you, the Curious Refuge community, with your film projects, from hosting new competitions to providing funding to new filmmakers. We have many incredible announcements coming from this event, and we can't wait to share it with you soon. And speaking of our community, enrollment for the June session of our AI filmmaking and AI advertising course will start up on May 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. The June session will mark 12 months since we began our AI training, and we have trained artists in over 125 countries. If you want to learn alongside accomplished artists at some of the biggest studios in the world, click the link below this video to sign up for the waitlist. You'll be the first to know when courses go on sale. This session is one of the biggest updates that we've ever had. We'll cover brand new tools and resources to help you tell compelling stories. I also came across a really interesting article this last week that confirmed a lot of the conversations that I've been having out in Los Angeles. Basically, it said that everyone in Hollywood is using AI, but scared to admit it. And I totally agree. Basically, there's all sorts of different examples of AI being used on Hollywood productions, whether it's in the pre-production phase to create storyboards or as a creative writing assistant, all the way to post-production where the assets are actually used in the feature film. AI is being used all over the place. People in the industry range from being fearful to being super optimistic, but we really find that what's most helpful is just having some curiosity to see what is possible and what is not possible. So now let's shift gears. I want to talk about a few technological breakthroughs that dropped this last week and will hopefully be here very soon. The first is called Toon 3D. Basically, the tool allows you to upload multiple images from a cartoon and create a 3D rendering of the environment. Now, it's really rough, but I think it's interesting to think about how you can create 3D representations of fictitious worlds, even if they're illustrated using a very simple tool. I also came across an interesting example of AI motion design. So motion design has been one of the more challenging types of videos to replicate using artificial intelligence because there's so much subtle nuance that goes into the process of MoGraph. Well, that may be changing. There's a new tool called Logo Motion that basically allows you to upload a logo and get some motion design in return. Now, it kind of is somewhere between a drag and drop template and something that is customized, but I think it really does sow the seeds and showcase how MoGraph may be affected by AI advancements in the coming months. There's also a really interesting tool called Cat 3D, and of course they do have some cat examples over on their website that basically allows you to upload an image and get a 3D model representation of that object in a 3D world. So it basically will convert your object into 3D and the background into 3D. So it is slightly low res at this point, but it really is a very easy process, and they have some really interesting examples over on the website. Basically, you're able to get some really dynamic parallaxing and tracking shots using this tool. And to take it one step further, we came across this research paper called GSLRM that is basically one of the best examples of high resolution Gaussian 3D models that we've seen up to this point. And what I mean by that, because that was a lot of technical words, sorry about that. Basically, you have the ability to upload 2 to 4 images, and it will, within 0.23 seconds, combine them together and create a 3D model that is fantastic. It really does look realistic, like the object was either scanned with a very high-res scanner or literally modeled directly on the computer. They have some cool examples over on the website. For example, we have this image of this living room with a couch that has a lot of pillows on it, and you can use your arrow to basically move around in 3D space. So it's just from a single image, and it generated a ton of 3D information. I think that this tool is only going to improve. There's going to be a lot more fidelity, and it will be very interesting to see how we're able to create 3D worlds for AR and VR experiences very soon. And if we take it one step further, there is actually another tool that basically allows you to take an image that's been converted into 3D and extend the edges. So it replicates that information on the edges, which is really important because a lot of times if you're wanting to create parallax 3D movement, the tops, the bottoms, the sides, they get cut off because that information is lost. But with this tool, you basically have the ability to continue to stretch it so that you can move more dynamically around your scene. And I came across another really interesting white paper that basically allows you to take primitive 3D models, type in text, and it will create texturing on those models. So it creates really high resolution textures that look fantastic, and it just comes from a simple prompt. So usually the process of texturing is really challenging because you have to break down your 3D objects, and there's a lot of painting involved, and you have to create meshes, and it's really, really complicated. But using this feature, you have the ability to very easily create textures and shaders that can be used for your projects. There was also quite a few announcements in the world of costume design that I want to talk about. The first one is called Lega, and it basically allows you to change the clothing of somebody inside of a video. Basically, all you have to do is upload the video, and then the AI tool will automatically extrapolate the subject and their clothing, and you can just swap it out for whatever clothing you want. It's really interesting because as a director, if you're in post-production and you want to change the clothing of a subject, currently it's kind of challenging. You either have to use color grading techniques to change the color, or rotoscoping or some advanced 3D compositing to change that specific asset. But using this tool, you'll be able to just drag, drop, and change the clothing of the actors in the background or even the foreground with a simple tool. And speaking of clothing, we came across a story this last week of Nike basically using generative AI to create custom shoes. So Nike is designing their own language model and also using image generators to create custom shoes based on people's personalities. The designers will basically use AI as a creative jumping off point and then take the outputs and put them into their normal 3D tools to do the real mockups. And in other costume news, there was some images going around basically of Katy Perry at the Met Gala. The problem is Katy Perry didn't go to the Met Gala, and it actually fooled her mom. So obviously AI can be used for misinformation, so it's very important to make sure that these AI tools are baking in metadata so that we can know where these images are coming from. The team at Krea also came out with a new AI video model that is really fun to play with. There have been some really interesting examples from the community. For example, we have this video that basically transitions and moves from shot to shot, and it's all pretty seamless and stylized. And it was all created using Krea. Basically, they take images from Midjourney, upload it to Krea, and it interpolates between the frames. We also have this video here of just different cathedral concepts that kind of blend into each other, and it all has that very stylized Krea look that is so interesting. It's actually really easy to pull this off using Krea. Let me show you how it's done. All you have to do is go to the Krea website and go ahead and click Generate Videos. So you'll actually be able to generate videos for free. They limit it to a certain number, but it's actually free for you to use at this time. So all you have to do is upload your images. You can just basically click in here and add a keyframe and upload your image. I have 2 images here. I have this first image of me wearing the sweater. Okay, it's fine. And then I have a reference image that's basically a Muppet version of me wearing the same sweater. Basically used image reference in Midjourney. It's pretty funny. And basically, I want these 2 videos to combine into one another. And so to do that, you basically have this text prompt area where you can describe what you want to see. So we have a man on a black background, and then over here we have a puppet on a black background. And I want them to convert into one another. And so all you have to do is click Generate Video, and let's go ahead and watch this one back. Oh no. It's like his nose turns into a beak. It's absolutely terrifying. So is this super realistic? No, it's hyper stylized, but I think it has really interesting implications for visual effects, whether it's a dream sequence or a hyper stylized sequence of footage that you're working with, or even a music video or a live event. I think there's some pretty immediate applications that you can use this for using the tool. Elevenlabs also came out with a music generation tool that is basically a competitor to Suno and Udio. And the result might be better than any AI music tool that we've seen up to this point. Let's go ahead and listen to one example from Elevenlabs.
We were having fun, programming young, dreaming that one day we'd make it work. Lines of code we'd write.
I mean, come on, that sounds basically like a perfect scratch track. Obviously, if that was being used as a baseline and a professional singer came in and added their own just subtle nuance to the piece, it would sound like a produced track. And while I'm talking about Elevenlabs, I should note that they came out with a quick demo showcasing their music and sound effects on the Google VEO demo video. So let's take a quick listen.
Neon towers in the night, colors vivid, shining bright, flying cars and endless skies. In this realm we come alive.
I love how it's singing about what's happening on screen as it happens. It's great. And there's 2 more bits of news from Elevenlabs. The first is they actually came out with a reading app that allows you to use Elevenlabs voices to read text from a device. So right now it's only for phone and iPad, but I imagine it will be coming to desktop very soon. And they also released their dubbing API to where basically companies can begin to tap into the enterprise level of Elevenlabs to dub and translate their content at scale. We also saw a report this last week that basically said Netflix is becoming an advertising and technology company. Basically, it said that Netflix has over 40 million users using the $7 per month ad tier that basically shows advertisements. And they've worked with Microsoft up to this point to provide those ads. But now Netflix is actually going to generate that ad experience in-house. And I think it really showcases a shift in consumer behavior. One of the big appeals in using streaming software up to this point has been that there's no advertisements. But with companies like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon showing advertisements in some of their tiers, it's showing that audiences may prefer to spend less money even if it means you have to watch ads. We also saw an announcement this last week that said eye tracking was going to come to Apple products very soon. Basically, the iPhone will have the ability to track your eyes. This is immediately being billed as a tool for accessibility. Basically, you can use your eyes to perform actions like clicking, texting, things like that. But it's very easy to see how that same technology could be implemented to the masses to basically make it to where you don't actually have to type on your phone. You can just look around and take actions based on your eyes. There's also quite a few AI events and competitions on the horizon that I think you should know about. The first is our AI trailer competition that is going until June 6th. Basically, all you have to do is create a trailer and it will be entered in for a chance to win a big prize sponsored by Submachine. We've also asked Monica Brady, who's the executive producer of the Golden Trailer Awards, which is basically the Academy Awards for trailers, to be a judge for the competition. It's an incredible mix of judges ranging from members of the TV Academy to Matt Wolf himself. We can't wait to check out your trailer. Best of luck in the competition. There's also various meetups and events happening around the world. For example, we have the Curious Refuge AI Filmmaking Meetup in London happening on May 23rd and in Kansas City on May 30th. We're also working to put together meetups in other cities, including Paris and Los Angeles very soon. There's also the Busan International Fantastic Film Festival, which is a fantastic name, that will be happening from July 4th through the 14th. Curious Refuge will have a presence at the festival virtually, and there will actually be some AI film screened at the event, along with some workshops. So if you're in Korea or have the ability to get to Korea in July, I highly recommend checking it out. There's also a few events in Barcelona and in Amsterdam in the coming months. I definitely recommend checking out our AI film events page for a list of events around the world. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. The first film that I want to talk about this week is the Shy Kids sequel to their live action balloon video. Basically, it's a really funny blend of live action footage and generative AI. That's a documentary about what happened after that Sora video went viral. It's hilarious, and I definitely think it's a good example of storytelling. The next video that I want to showcase is an advertising concept that was created inside of our AI advertising course by a student that goes by the Discord handle Blunt Content, which is pretty normal. I feel like most AI people have a Discord handle and then their actual name. The commercial showcases some really interesting image consistency, and some of the shots and composition look very good. And the final film that I want to showcase is called Empire by Mark Waschultz. Basically, it's a dystopian film that showcases a variety of different filmmaking concepts. I really like the overall aesthetic and color grade that they added to the film, and there's some pretty cool VFX that are included in there. This was actually created for the Runway Gen 48 competition, but they released it about a month ago, and I highly recommend checking out the film. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to the Cannes International Film Festival for inviting me, Shelby, and the Curious Refuge team to speak about the future of filmmaking. If you want to get AI film news delivered directly to your inbox, you can subscribe by going to the link below this video. And while you're at Curious Refuge, be sure to sign up for the waitlist for our June session. Enrollment opens on May 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And of course, if you want to get tutorials and AI film news directly here on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.